I can still remember, friend, those nights when sleep felt like a mischievous ghost, dancing just out of reach. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the tick-tock of the clock like it was mocking me, counting every second as if the numbers themselves could lull me to rest. At 80 years old, you'd think I'd have mastered the art of sleep by now. But no, my mind would race with unfinished thoughts, memories that surfaced from decades past, and sometimes even ridiculous what-ifs. One particularly long night, I counted the cracks in my ceiling. 23, if you're curious. And by the time I reached 30, I had already lost count. It was in those frustrating, lonely hours that I decided to dive into the world of foods that could genuinely help me sleep better than ever. I know what you're thinking, Paul. Food is going to make you sleep? And friend, I thought the same thing at first. I tried counting sheep, sipping warm milk, even whispering gentle nonsense to my pillow. Nothing worked consistently. But as I turned 80, I realized that sleep isn't just some trivial luxury. It's the elixir of life at our age. Without it, everything feels heavier. The joints ache more. The mind forgets faster. And the day loses its warmth. That's when I started experimenting with foods, not just as nourishment, but as gentle signals to my body. Relax, friend, it's time to rest. 1. Almonds, tiny sleep giants. Almonds, tiny, humble, unassuming little nuts. But let me tell you, friend, they are nighttime warriors. Packed with magnesium, almonds help relax muscles and calm the nervous system. I remember scoffing at magnesium supplements back in my 50s. Who needs pills when you can eat chocolate, I said, laughing at my younger self. But a handful of almonds before bed changed everything. My muscles loosened, my shoulders fell, and my mind finally accepted the invitation to rest. I like to roast them lightly with a pinch of sea salt. Sometimes I even toss a few into a warm cup of milk, a secret trick my mother taught me, though she always warned me not to burn the milk like I did once as a boy. I keep a small jar by my bedside. On nights when my thoughts refused to settle, I would eat 3 or 4, savoring each one slowly. The crunch, the warmth, the subtle saltiness, it became a ritual. One night I told my neighbor about it, half joking, half serious. He looked at me like I had lost my mind. The next morning he called me, practically whispering, "Paul, I slept straight through the night. I felt like a wizard, friend, a wizard with almonds." But almonds are more than just magnesium. They contain protein, healthy fats, and vitamin B6, which helps produce melatonin, the very hormone that whispers to your body, it's time for sleep. I like to joke that almonds are the night shift for your nervous system, working quietly while you do nothing but drift off. One funny night, I tried this ritual while watching late-night television. I placed a few almonds in a small dish, nibbled them slowly, and within minutes I noticed my hands relaxing, my legs softening. I looked over at the TV, and the host's voice was already starting to blend into a gentle hum. 30 minutes later, I awoke on the couch, with my slippers halfway off, the dish of almonds empty, and Mr. Whiskers staring at me like I had betrayed some secret almond covenant. He never approved of humans stealing his spotlight, friend. 2. Kiwi, the unsung nighttime hero. Now, kiwi might surprise you. Fuzzy, green, and sometimes a little tart, it's the stealthy assassin of sleepless nights. Eating 2 kiwis about an hour before bed has been a game changer for me. These little fruits are full of antioxidants, fiber, and serotonin-boosting properties, all of which work together to calm your mind and prepare your body for rest. The fiber keeps my stomach happy, and a happy stomach is essential, because at 80, a grumbling tummy can ruin even the coziest bed. I slice them carefully, sprinkle a pinch of cinnamon, and savor each bite. The taste is comforting, and the act of preparation itself becomes a soothing ritual. One night I was experimenting with this ritual when my daughter was visiting. She rolled her eyes at first. "Dad, really? Kiwi before bed?" But 3 nights later, she called me whispering over the phone, "Dad, I had the best sleep of my life. I nearly fell off my chair in joy." Mr. Whiskers, my ever-suspicious cat, began watching me with narrowed eyes whenever I reached for a kiwi. I think he believed I was holding some magical potion. Perhaps I was. The kiwi ritual became part of my nightly routine. I began pairing it with a few almonds for texture, sometimes a drizzle of honey for sweetness. I would sit by the window, letting the cool night air brush against my face, and quietly enjoy the fruits while reflecting on the day. There's a kind of peace in that, friend. A moment where the world slows down just enough for your mind to settle. 3. Tart cherry juice. Liquid sleep in a glass. Ah, tart cherry juice. If almonds are the night shift, tart cherry juice is the siren calling you gently into the depths of slumber. Packed with melatonin, it signals to your body it's time to rest. I drink a small glass 30 minutes before bed, pure and unsweetened. No sugar-laden versions, my friend, those are imposters. I once tried it at a family gathering, curious to see if the magic worked outside my own home. My grandson, wise beyond his 10 years, asked, "Grandpa, are you going to fall asleep right here?" I winked, "Watch and learn, young man." By the end of the movie, I was snoring softly in my chair, and my granddaughter, seizing the moment, drew a crown on my forehead. Sleep crowns, I call them. But my wife, ever the realist, was less impressed. Tart cherry juice also has anti-inflammatory antioxidants. At my age, friend, inflammation is like a pesky guest who never leaves, so anything that helps calm it is worth celebrating. I sometimes mix it with a splash of almond milk, creating a smooth, dessert-like drink that signals the end of the day. The ritual is half the magic, the taste, the warmth, and the knowledge that relief is coming. One particularly funny night, I sipped my tart cherry juice while watching the stars from my porch. Mr. Whiskers leapt onto my lap mid-sip, startled by the liquid trickling down my chin. He stared at me as if to say, "Really, human? We've reached this level of sophistication?" I laughed and whispered, "Patience, my friend. Sleep comes to those who wait." Within 20 minutes, I was asleep, dreams dancing like fireflies in the night. 4. Oatmeal. More than breakfast, a sleep inducer. Oatmeal, my friend, isn't just a breakfast food. It's a bedtime ally. Full of complex carbohydrates, it helps tryptophan enter the brain, producing serotonin and melatonin. I prepare a small bowl with honey, walnuts, and sometimes a dash of cinnamon. One night, after a warm bowl, I lay down and felt my pillow almost whisper, "Finally, you're ready." 10 minutes later, I was out cold, the world slipping away like sand through my fingers. Oatmeal also nurtures the nervous system with B vitamins. Sometimes I add blueberries or flaxseed, turning a simple breakfast item into a bedtime potion. There's comfort in warmth and sweetness, friend. A feeling that tells your body, all is well, rest now. I experimented with various toppings, each combination creating a unique sensory experience that made sleep feel almost inevitable. Even at 80, I find joy in these small rituals. Eating isn't just about filling the stomach, it's about nourishing the mind, body, and soul. These 4 foods have already transformed my nights. I've shared these secrets with friends and family, and nearly everyone reports better sleep. And trust me, friend, once you start this journey, the nights begin to feel like gentle streams rather than turbulent oceans. There are still 4 more foods that I'll reveal in the next section. But before I leave you hanging, remember this: sleep is precious. These foods are more than ingredients. They're gentle invitations to rest. And if you've enjoyed what you've learned so far, like this story, comment with your favorite sleep tip, and subscribe. There's more coming, and I promise it's all tested by an 80-year-old who has spent decades perfecting the art of peaceful nights.
The nights I struggled were frustrating, yes, but they also taught me patience and observation. Each almond, each kiwi, each sip of tart cherry juice, each warm bowl of oatmeal became part of a ritual that nurtured both body and spirit. Even Mr. Whiskers learned the pattern. When I began my pre-bed snacks, it was time to settle down, to watch quietly, and to enjoy the calm. Sleep, like friendship, is a ritual, a gentle practice seasoned with humor, warmth, and a little magic. And at 80, friend, I can tell you, finding joy in these small moments is one of life's sweetest gifts. After discovering the magic of almonds, kiwi, tart cherry juice, and oatmeal, I've felt like a man reborn. The nights that used to stretch endlessly now seemed gentle and full of promise. But friend, my journey wasn't complete. There were 4 more foods that would cement this sleep revolution, turning restless evenings into serene journeys into dreamland. 5. Bananas, nature's sleepy snack. Ah, bananas. Bright, cheerful, and deceptively powerful. Full of potassium and magnesium, they help muscles relax, and the tryptophan within converts into serotonin and melatonin, your body's natural lullabies. I slice a banana over oatmeal sometimes, or I eat it plain while leaning against my favorite armchair, letting the sweetness roll slowly over my tongue. One night, after a particularly stressful day, I peeled a banana and nibbled it in silence. 10 minutes later, I was almost asleep right there in the living room. Mr. Whiskers looked at me suspiciously, his tail flicking in disapproval. "Really human?" his eyes seemed to say. I laughed softly and whispered, "Patience, friend, sleep is coming." Bananas are also wonderfully versatile. I blend them into a light smoothie with a splash of almond milk, a drizzle of honey, and a few ice cubes. The texture is creamy, the flavor soothing, and the effect almost immediate. Sometimes I'll sprinkle cinnamon on top, letting the aroma fill the kitchen while I sit by the window, watching the moon's reflection dance on the porch. There's something profoundly calming about combining ritual, taste, and anticipation. At 80, friend, I've realized that sleep is as much about the journey toward it as the rest itself. 6. Warm milk, classic comfort with a twist. Warm milk is timeless, isn't it? Every culture has some version of it, a cup of comfort before bed. But I've added a twist over the years, a pinch of nutmeg, a sprinkle of cinnamon, or even a dash of honey. Lactose itself helps produce tryptophan, nudging your brain to synthesize melatonin. I prefer almond milk on nights when I want something lighter, yet equally comforting. The warmth soothes the body, and the ritual itself signals that the day is done. One winter evening, I was shivering under 3 blankets, sipping my nutmeg-infused milk. Mr. Whiskers jumped onto my lap, seeking warmth as well. I laughed, imagining us both as 2 old, weary souls preparing for a night of blissful sleep. By the time I set the cup down, my eyes were heavy, my muscles relaxed, and I drifted off almost mid-laugh at some absurd thought that had crossed my mind earlier. Over the years, I've experimented with milk in various forms: warm, slightly frothed, even adding a hint of vanilla. Each variation carries the same comforting message: the day is over. It's time for rest. There's beauty in such simplicity, friend, and the elegance of routine cannot be overstated. Our bodies, especially at 80, thrive on signals and gentle cues, and warm milk has become one of my most cherished allies. 7. Herbal teas, chamomile and beyond. Herbal teas have been a revelation in my later years. Chamomile is the classic, of course, but I also enjoy peppermint, lemon balm, and valerian root. Each tea offers a unique approach. Chamomile calms, peppermint soothes the stomach, lemon balm eases tension, and valerian, surprisingly, helps even stubborn insomnia. I brew a cup, let it steep, and then sit quietly, inhaling the aroma. Sometimes I stare out the window, watching the shadows of the trees dance in the night breeze. There's something profoundly calming about combining ritual, taste, and anticipation. At 80, friend, I've realized that sleep is as much about the journey toward it as the rest itself. 8. Fatty fish, salmon, and the sleep connection. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines aren't just good for your heart. They help regulate serotonin, thanks to vitamin D and omega-3s, supporting a natural sleep rhythm. I usually enjoy a light dinner of salmon a few hours before bed. The combination of protein and healthy fats prepares the body, signaling that the day is complete. I remember one evening, after a particularly tasty salmon dinner, I found myself reclining in my chair, the evening news playing softly in the background, and within minutes I was drifting into a nap so deep I nearly missed dessert. Fatty fish is also wonderfully versatile. I like to bake salmon with a light drizzle of olive oil and sprinkle of herbs, letting the aroma fill the kitchen. Occasionally, I make a sardine salad, paired with a few walnuts and a hint of lemon. Each meal becomes more than nourishment. It's preparation for rest, a subtle conversation with my body. We've done enough today. Now we replenish. Now, friend, the magic isn't just in eating these foods individually. It's in the way they interact with our body and mind. I've developed little routines. Sometimes I'll start the evening with a small banana snack while sipping tart cherry juice, then a warm cup of herbal tea as I prepare
My oatmeal or a light salmon dinner. The timing matters, the ritual matters, and most importantly, the intention matters. By signaling to my body that rest is expected, I've transformed nights that once seemed endless into gentle, restorative experiences. I also pay attention to portion size. Overeating, even healthy foods, can disturb sleep. So I keep everything moderate. A handful of almonds, 2 kiwis, a small glass of tart cherry juice, half a bowl of oatmeal, a slice of banana, a warm cup of milk or tea, and a light serving of fatty fish. It's all about balance, friend, a dance between nourishment and tranquility. Sleep isn't just about what we eat, it's about how we live. At 80, I've learned the importance of winding down, of gentle rituals that prepare the body and mind. I dim the lights, silence unnecessary distractions, and sometimes take a brief walk around the house or a slow stretch. I reflect on the day, sometimes laugh at absurd memories, and occasionally tell Mr. Whiskers about things only he seems to understand. It's not just routine, it's mindfulness, and it makes a world of difference. I've also discovered that consistency matters. Going to bed at roughly the same time, eating similar foods, and embracing rituals creates a rhythm that the body learns to trust. Even simple habits, like setting a cup of tea on a particular coaster or keeping almonds in a small dish by the bedside, signal it's almost time to sleep. Little cues accumulate, and the body responds with ease. Friend, the journey hasn't all been solemn rituals. There have been nights of sheer hilarity. One night, I attempted to combine all my foods into one mega snack. Almonds, kiwi, banana, a small glass of tart cherry juice, a sip of milk, and even a splash of herbal tea. The combination was questionable. I laughed so hard, nearly spilling everything, that sleep was delayed not by the food, but by my own amusement.
Mr. Whiskers, of course, watched in judgment, tail flicking with disdain. "Human," his eyes seemed to say, "you've lost it." But we laughed together, and the night ended peacefully, albeit slightly sticky. I've shared these tips with friends and family, often leading to their own hilarious experiments. My neighbor tried tart cherry juice with kiwi, only to accidentally sip the juice after peeling the kiwi and laughed so hard she dropped both on the floor. Her husband shook his head, muttering about old man advice, while she admitted the next morning she slept better than she had in months. These moments of shared laughter, coupled with better sleep, make life richer. At 80, friend, I've realized that sleep is one of life's quiet treasures. It's not flashy, it's not celebrated, but it sustains us. Eating these 8 foods, creating rituals, and embracing gentle routines have changed my nights. I feel lighter in the morning, my mind sharper, and my mood calmer. The humor, the shared stories, the rituals, they all matter. Sleep is a gift, and giving it to yourself intentionally is an act of love. So, friend, I encourage you to explore these foods, to experiment with rituals, and to find joy in the process. A handful of almonds, 2 kiwis, a small glass of tart cherry juice, a warm bowl of oatmeal, a slice of banana, a cup of milk, a soothing herbal tea, and a light serving of fatty fish. These are more than foods. They are invitations to rest, to rejuvenate, and to experience nights filled with gentle dreams. If you've enjoyed these stories and tips, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your own experiences, laugh at the absurdities, and join me in celebrating the art of rest. Sleep, after all, is one of the sweetest gifts, and at 80, friend, I treasure it every night.